Hello, everyone. Ariel Asher here. Welcome. This is the Awakened Leaders book talk series. This is week 5 of our series of 5. We are promoting our book that is coming out on April 20th. We're so excited about. And I'm here today, joining me today is Paula Pacheco and Helen Miller Montana, two of the other authors. And yours truly is also going to take my turn to talk a little bit about my chapter today. I'll save mine for last after we've had all of the Awakened Leaders speak throughout the last couple of weeks. We'll have my final say-so at the very end. Today, we're going to have Paula Pacheco up first, which is a great coincidence. Her chapter is the first chapter opening our book. It's very exciting. So I will go ahead, and we also have today Helen Miller Montana. Ladies, go ahead and give everybody a wave there so they know that you're alive, and I'm not just putting up pictures of all my friends, right? And I'm going to go ahead and take Helen out of the picture, and we're going to hear from her in just a few moments there. And I'd love to introduce you to Paula Pacheco. I am really excited that she's here. Over the years, we've known each other through other women's networking groups and some communities, and I think we've even spoken a few times on some of the same stages. And one thing as a friend that Paula and I have discussed many times is ushering in the divine feminine energy and just what that means. And I think that you're going to really like what she has to say. I'm not going to divulge the title yet of your chapter. I'm going to let you spill the beans. I won't do that on you, Paula, but we'll just go ahead. And could you just please take about 10 minutes, Paula, and we'd love to hear the name of your chapter. We would love to hear, why do you think it's important to talk about divine feminine, and why did you decide to step forward as an awakened leader at this time? Why do you think that that is so timely? I'm just going to let you ruminate on that, and I'm going to go ahead and just let you share and open up with our audience, Paula. We'd love to hear from you.
Well, thank you, Ariel. I want to take this time to thank you so much. I appreciate you doing all the hard work to allow me to talk about something that I find just one of the most important things in my life. So I will start first by sharing why I chose balancing our world with feminine leadership and why I think it's so important. Right now, at this time, the world is in turmoil. The world is kind of crazy and kind of scary. And my talk is about why it's so important that I've said for years, this world needs to be run by the genders that inhabit it. We would have balance, but we don't. And I hope my chapter convinces you for the need of it. But before I start, I wanted to share a fable that I came across that I absolutely love. Divine feminine energy was sitting up on Mount Olympus, and she looked down because she had just created the earth, and she was looking at it, and she couldn't marvel how it was so beautiful to her. It was so beautiful that she decided to leave Mount Olympus and go down to the earth and inhabit it, because she wanted to protect Earth, and she wanted to protect everything, all the creatures, animals, humans. She wanted to protect everyone there. And that's why we call Earth Mother Earth. It's an anonymous fable, but I love it. Now, Earth was created in perfect balance with the concept of duality. Duality teaches us that every part of life has a balanced opposite part or a complementary interaction. Good, evil, black, white, love, hate, up, down are a few examples of duality in our world. Now, with every human being resides the duality of our feminine and masculine energies or attributes or skills, virtues. The divine feminine is one half, and the divine masculine is its complementary interaction. When in balance together, these two energies create a beautiful world filled with love, harmony, and peace. Human beings, therefore, I believe, can also live a wonderful life of harmony, peace, beauty, creativity. But this is not the world that we find ourselves in today. Now, divine feminine energy is nurturing, intuitive, gentle, full of wisdom, patient, assuring, and she has a receiving nature. Divine masculine energy is logical, strong, loyal, action-oriented, adventurous, and has a giving nature. Now, these are just a few examples of both of the energies that we all carry inside of us. Now, in its truest, brightest form, the divine masculine has great integrity. This energy is also courageous, intellectual, and grounded. It is non-judgmental, independent, and mindful. Now, when balanced, the divine masculine energy perfectly matches the divine feminine in its brightest and truest form. One would think, with all of this wonderful and magnificent energies that we have available to us, life on earth would be spectacular. Well, why isn't it? Now, to everyone's detriment, masculine energies have dominated our world for a millennium. Society has placed so little value on feminine energies that both energies are now terribly out of balance. One can easily see the imbalance just by seeing how the whole world is out of balance today. Now, due to this imbalance, masculine energies have become aggressive, controlling, and terribly abusive. It is an energy that never stops hungering for more power, more dominance, and absolute control. We have wars, strife, riots, poverty, and food shortages all over the earth. We also have people that, for lack of a better word, hold dominion over other people, as well as patriarchal structures that disempower so many of us human beings. Now, the divine masculine that we see today, it's a toxic version of its true glorious energy. In many places around the world, women suffer because this great imbalance is oppressed and violated daily, and children suffer equally as much. This toxic masculine energy can also be seen in the patriarchal systems and societies that run our world. There are also people who are unbalanced in their divine feminine energy, and you can recognize them because they engage in toxic communication with others. They think that femininity makes them weak, and they have a great need to prove themselves. They're always busy doing instead of being. Add to that, our feminine energies have traditionally been so devalued that many women are prone to continue to feel stressed and struggle all the more in this confusion and chaos. Now, when both of these energies are balanced, we experience a greater sense of harmony and fulfillment in our lives. Now, the healthy goal is to create a balance in your masculine and feminine energies, because it can also help improve us in so many other aspects of our daily lives, especially our physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. It all comes down to the duality of balancing the divine and feminine masculine energies. Oh my God, I've been saying it so much, those words. But have faith. The divine feminine is coming out of the shadows, and she's on the rise. This energy is slowly waking up and returning to us all. Women and men around the world are hearing her call. It is awakening after a forced slumber of at least 2,000 years. I'd like to share with you, in 2011, I attended a class at Stanford University, and it was women and creative leadership. And there were about 80 of us women coming into the classroom, and we sat down, and it was being facilitated by two wonderful teachers at Stanford. And the first thing one of them said was, "Ladies, the divine feminine is back in town." And I did this happy dance. I was so thrilled because I had never talked to anybody about the divine feminine, but I just gravitated towards it when I traveled. But that's another story. Uh, and I thought this is such a good sign, because if one of the greatest educational institutions in the world can talk about the divine feminine, then there's real hope. Now, the other thing I want to share with you was why at this point in time it's so important for me to help women understand their male and female skills and talents. I was I was a teenager. I was 14, and I was reading H.G. Wells in my bedroom, and I could smell chocolate chip cookies coming into the room. And so I got up, went to the kitchen, and my mother was teaching one of my sisters how to make a favorite family recipe. And she said, Paula, do you want to learn how to make chicken merengue? And I grabbed the cookies and I said, no, thank you, Mom. And she said, well, why not? I go, because I'm going to be a businesswoman. And I walked out of the room, and in my head, the words came to me that I wanted to be a CEO of a multinational corporation. And it landed so well for me at 14. I said, I don't know where that came from, but I like it. So at 18, I got a job at B of A, and for 18 years, I did a great job, but I didn't realize the price I'd paid until I had a life-defining moment. It was 4th of July, and I was with my 3 sisters, and we were at the checkout stand at Safeway, and my sisters are talking next to me, and I'm right facing the bag boy, and he's letting all the food pile up because he's flirting with a young girl at the other counter. And I'm looking at that, and I look up at him and I say, what are you doing? I go, we're in a hurry. It's a holiday and we want to go, and you're flirting? And he got beet red. And one of my sisters, because I'm staring right at the young man, young teenager, and my sisters go, Paula, lighten up. And I realized, I just was so upset. I realized that I had wounded this child. And I said, I'm so sorry. And I walked out to my car. And at that moment, I realized that 18 years of working in a patriarchal structure had made me impatient, angry, unhappy. And after 2 weeks, I walked away from a career that I loved and that I was great at. At that time, and from then on, I started to heal myself. And I learned about all the attributes and all the things that I as a woman carry in me, and I couldn't utilize them because it wasn't the thing to do in a patriarchal society. So I want to share with women the masculine skills that they carry and the feminine skills or attributes or values or whatever you want to call it, because we need more women in positions of power. Right now, the CEOs are 23% in the country, and men are 77%. How are we going to balance this planet when there's not equality for the women and men who run it? Food for thought. My email is at the bottom of my chapter. I would be honored if you would email me and let me know what you think about my topic. And I want to thank Ariel for all the hard work she's done, and I thank you for listening. Take care.
Bravo, Paula. Bravo. Let's get Helen over here. You know, Paula, that was really excellent. I love the way that you covered the topic. I love the way you rolled it out for everybody. I love your real life examples that I'm so sure everybody is going to really relate to. Excuse me, I have to cough. Shouldn't do that during broadcast. Sorry, folks. But I love the way that that you laid everything out. And as you were speaking, I couldn't help but think, it's so interesting. You're talking about the divine feminine. We must have a really good book compiler, because in the beginning of the book, we talk about the divine feminine. And then at the end of the book, we have a chapter from our other authors. And I've got let's see. Matthew is here. Hi, glad to see you all. They're so faithful at watching all of our live streams. Thank you guys. Our other authors, Matthew Noonan and Kathleen Michaels Brader, are joining us. But their chapter is just a nice bookend for your subject matter and the balance between the masculine and feminine energy. It's really, really exciting. And Kathleen and I have known each other a really long time. We were probably doing the Vulcan mind meld there or something. She says, Kathleen here. Wow, Paula, you're amazing. Thank you for writing this chapter. She can't wait to read it. But just as I was thinking about Kathleen, she popped up this great comment in the live. I didn't want to interrupt your speaking, but I just wanted to give you...
chapter? What is it called, if I may ask?
There is called Empowered Recovery and the Dance of Life. And what I'm referring to, the part that I'm referring to that mirrors your chapter so nicely is the balancing they talk about it as balancing as a couple, the masculine and feminine energies like that. It's really quite nice. And I'll have to spill the beans to our listeners and our viewers now that a lot of the authors haven't read each other's material yet, so they're anxiously awaiting to hear everybody's titles and everything. Some people have seen some preview copies, and I've shared a couple book reviews over the last couple of broadcasts. But it's exciting for all of us to hear each other speak and to really get the final outcome, the final chapter of what we have been together creating for over a year now. And it's coming out on April 20th, and we absolutely cannot wait. Anyway, look at this just in. Great talk, Paula. Good to see you. Can hardly wait to read more. It's great to have you watching us, April. Thank you so much for that. Just a really great talk. You did a really fabulous job. And also, it's just such a juicy topic. What do you think, Helen? What did you think, Helen?
I completely agree, and I really resonated because I think we're right in terms of the feminine versus masculine power. And I think I've been trying to apply using my own powers on both ends and not neglecting one or the other, especially when it comes to being in business for me.
Now, it's kind of interesting just the way the stars aligned that you guys are both on the same program together, because you are the more corporate authors in the book, and it's just interesting to have your view on things. You know, Paula, while you were talking about your mother's wanting to know if you wanted to learn how to cook, the special recipe. I love that story. I've got a story of my own. I have a story of my own when I was in typing class. I'm sure there are many of our viewers don't even know that there is such a thing or what a typewriter is, right?
They call it keyboarding now.
Keyboarding, yes, but I was in a typing class. Sorry to date myself. I'm not a boomer, by the way, so I hate it when the kids call me boomer. No, that's my mom. Anyway, so I was in my typing class, doing the quick red fox jumped over the lazy dog or whatever, and my teacher said, Ariel, pay attention, because I was probably talking or something, which I still love to do, obviously. But I said, I don't know why I would even need typing. I'm gonna have my own secretary, right? So I was still in that old model, but a very similar. You saying that you wanted to be a CEO, Paula. I knew for sure that I was going to be a boss, right? And I was going to have. I'm not going to be a secretary. That's for darn sure. But the ironic part is now that I'm publishing and all of the things that I do is we use technology so much. I type all day long, right?
Oh.
But anyway. I just thought it was so funny that I probably was 14 or 15 years old at that time, probably a little full of myself, but my poor teacher, I was a little bit flippant, but yeah, that was the mindset that I just was really sure that was, I didn't want to be a secretary. Yeah. Raised by feminist, right? Anyway, I'm tickled that both of you are here today, and that both of you are sharing from your experience as being business women in corporate America, and I think that's just absolutely amazing. Paul, I'm going to take you out of the picture for a moment while I introduce Helen here. Thank you so much for your beautiful talk. You did such a great job, and now I would love to introduce the fabulous Helen Miller Montana. Helen and I actually know each other from the same networking community and community of women that Paula and I know each other from. We have been to many events together, and Helen is just a wonderful friend. And the thing that I always say about Helen that I want everyone to know is just that Helen, to me, just leads with her heart. She'll say it's her Polynesian background, or so she'll try to make but to me it's just the energy that Helen just really shows up with all of her heart, and that is something that I really appreciate about her. I remember one time we did vision boarding in her backyard. She had me come over and lead all the ladies through vision boarding, and she's just always wanting to gather people, and Helen is a natural nurturer, and I really like that she is in corporate America and she's bringing that feminine energy to everybody in her capacity. But I will let her tell our audience here why she decided to step forward as an awakened leader. And I believe this is your first author venture, right? So yeah, it's a big hurdle to cross. It takes a lot of chutzpah, right, to be a speaker and to be an author, because it really is sort of knighting yourself, as it were, to be a leader, right? And especially to come forward in a project called Awakend Leaders, that is a big, that is a great hurdle to cross. And I just want to commend you for that and touch upon it so that it can give you a little juice for your talk. So remember, we want to hear all about your chapter and why you thought it was a good time to step forward at this time. All right, Helen, I'm going to let you take it over. You have about 10 minutes to share with the audience that huge heart of yours.
Thank you so much, Ariel. And thank you so much for this opportunity to share my journey. So when I decided to write this chapter, my intention was to share how my family and I survived a traumatic experience with my husband having had a massive stroke, and even triumphing through it, in hopes to provide insights and best practices and resources to others who might be going through the same journey of caregiving. So my chapter is called From Caregiver to CEO, and it talks about my story of when I was focused on my husband's health for a span of 4 years to help him recover from this condition. First of all, I want to say, these past 2 years, we've seen that our caregivers have had an even heavier lift. And so many people have even become caregivers who weren't caregivers before the pandemic. Statistics show that caregivers have doubled in the last 2 years. And this does not account for the unrecorded and the informal caregivers, whom are people who are just taking care of their loved ones. So in my heritage, as Ariel was saying, we especially revere our elders and care for our elders at home. I grew up with my grandparents, both sets, living with us in our home as a little girl, on both my mother's side and my father. My mother's parents from Samoa lived with us for years. And my dear grandfather, Ted, on my dad's side, lived with us when he was unable to live alone. So caregiving has been a part of my life for many years. So as I decided to share my personal story of, grief, loss, for my husband with some of his disabilities and heartache, when the love of my life, Bert, had this massive stroke one day. It was April the 10th, I remember, 2013. Events such as this can devastate a family. In caregiving for Bert, we struggled with many aspects, his health, his memory loss, because for 3 years he didn't know me, and he doesn't have memory from before the time that before he had his stroke. Also, the challenge of, all the medications, there were concerns about finance. There's just a lot on your plate when you're a caregiver. So that was 9 years ago. Today, I'm so grateful and hugely relieved that this became a journey of triumph for us. Bert's been able to run 2 miles. He started running last year, 2 miles on the Los Gatos Creek Trail that we have here by my home, as we weren't able to go to the gym. He's able to drive. I was able to teach him to drive again, and he passed through the adaptive driving training. He's living very independently in many ways and feeling a part of the world again. Although with the pandemic, it really kind of tightened it up. But, he's out there, making friends, enjoying his teacher and his classmates very safely right now, but he's out there. So my hope is to help other people going down this path of caring for others, and just to share how Bert and I have learned from this experience of almost 9 years. So caring for Bert for the first 4 years was 24/7 at home for me. This was critical for his recovery. My laser focused attention was on him. It was rough and rocky, and there was no way that I could take my attention off of his needs those first 4 years. And I'm so grateful that I was able to do it and be home with him. But 2 years into his rehabilitation, I had to figure out a way to care for us, and to, provide a living and to support our family, in the standard that we were used to. So my story and my chapter, it shares steps that I took to launch a business that allowed me to stay at home and work with Bert, and care for Bert simultaneously. It wasn't easy, and I had the help of others, thank goodness. But I recognized in hindsight how many of the traits that I had learned through caregiving, I was able to transfer into leadership skills, which helped me to create a way to earn an income while being able to stay at home and care for him. And so in my chapter, I share the 12 best practices and transferable skills from caregiving to leadership, which I developed, and it helped me in my current role today. I am in the corporate world. So the company that I had launched with the help of my CEOs, because I had been in startups, continues running today through my sisters. My sisters have taken that over while I've gone on and started working in corporate again, which I'm happy to do and be able to have done. And I did that transition 3 years ago. But my hope is not only to inspire others seeking ways to sustain a living while caregiving, but also to give meaningful tips and tricks and methods that can be applied today for you or for anyone who's caregiving for someone at home to earn an income, but also at the same time support your family. So a couple of transferable skills that I share in my chapter that were so apparent to me include empathy. For one, that really hit home because I really was able to understand, what others might be going through and being heartfelt to support them. I would always, in work, in business, I apply that rule in everything I do when there's a problem or there's a challenge or someone's needing help. Another thing that I shared is delegating. I think many of us, I know for me, it was a challenge, is to learn how to ask for help and to let go of things that others can do. I before Bert's stroke, I was very capable, but always wanting to be able to do it myself. And caregiving forced me to really let go of things and put the priorities on top, the things that I needed to do and focus on, and let others take things that I just couldn't do. Also, just, knowing that you're a part of a team, you're not alone. Sometimes it can be very isolating for a caregiver. And so just knowing that there are others out there that you can connect with who are going down that same path that you can learn from and that you can mentor on a peer-to-peer level. I belong to several support groups for stroke survivors and also for caregivers. And it's amazing to just, share similar stories, and then also share our practices and things that we've done. When you go into something like this, there's so much to think about, and it's wonderful to know that you found your tribe. So, in closing, I want to say, thank you, Ariel, especially, for giving us this opportunity. We have some amazing authors in this culmination that she's pulled together in Awakened Leaders. But I also want to say thank you and a huge shout out to all of you amazing caregivers. Thank you also for your precious time today and letting me share my journey. I have to say I never knew what tough was until I got to meet a lot of you, and just really admire you, and just am inspired by you. You are the light of hope for others. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, Helen. Just absolutely beautiful. And your heart is showing. Your heart is showing. Helen, I of course I know the story, and I know Bert personally, but still every time when I hear you speak about it, it really moves me, because I really get how devastating that was, and how much turmoil you went through during that time, and we're all so proud of you for all of your achievements, and how you've pulled that rabbit out of your hat and rose to the occasion. You truly are an awakened leader. So thank you so much. And thank you for all that you do for caretakers. And I am sort of one of those unsung caretakers. I am my mother's caretaker
Right.
as well. And my responsibilities continue to be more and more there. So I understand the subject matter, and I'm honored that you chose our project to bring your story forward with. So thank you so much, Helen. We love you and appreciate you. Paula, what did you think?
Well, my mother was a caregiver, and it was, you think it's easy, but it can be incredibly stressful. A lot of times she would lose her. She'd hire young people to help her, and they would flake off, and then she'd have to call, and her, her children were happy to help her and give her breaks and time off. But you think it's an easy gig. It is not. It's just, you're responsible for the lives of these people, and some of them are incapacitated, or some of them don't want to talk, or you don't want to do this or that. And I admire my mother so much. She did phenomenally well. And thank you for bringing it to attention, and all the caregivers. I don't think we give them enough credit.
No.
And a lot of families will just drop off their parent and never see them again. Yeah. And that's what's incredibly sad, because I would spend a lot of time, on my days off, piling them up in a car. Let's go to the park. Let's go walking. Let's do a little shopping, because their families have practically had abandoned them. And so thank you, Helen. It's a topic that needs to be addressed.
Especially now after the pandemic. And everybody needs to be a good caretaker to themselves. Like, let's not forget to mention self-care. Not just a book plug for me, but empowered self-care. Really empowering yourself, because you will not be able to serve others if you are not taking care of yourself, and if you are not to full capacity, right? Let's see. I have some comments from our peanut gallery. Let's see. Oh, look at this. Deborah is here with us. What does Deborah have to say? Hi, all. Thank you for doing this. So I think that is just absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for appreciating our work. We feel very passionate about raising the consciousness of the planet, and helping heal people by letting them know that you can have a global pandemic and survive. You can get through traumatic news of brain tumors or, in Bert's case, a stroke. You can overcome toxic energies and toxic conditioning of cultures. You can. So thank you so much. We really appreciate, Deborah, that you are digging what we're doing. And let's see what we got. Wow, what a story, Helen. Big shout out from April. She says it's good to see you, and thanks for sharing your story. So you're already touching people. You're already who is this? Oh, Body, Mind, Soul TV and Media Network says we love it, Helen. Great job. Good job. That was me. I have to do something well. Pay no attention to that woman behind the curtain. A little levity to our programming. So thanks a bunch for that. So I really, really appreciate you, and I really, really love your chapter. And I know that our audience is going to be really moved and inspired by each and every story. The great thing about these compilation books, I'll just use this one as an example, is like there's something for everybody. And even if you don't completely resonate with one chapter, there's the next chapter. Right? And you have access. And the Awakened Leaders book is such an exciting project. And to have access to all of these great leaders, this book launch is happening on April 20th. Awakened Leaders, Empowering Stories of Self-Healing, Triumph, and Transformation. I really do believe that these authors, this collective group, these are the way showers. These are the people that are like, okay, so maybe we got struck down, but we got up again. And that resilience and that grit that it takes to be a leader will help others pull themselves out of similar situations, right? Or just read a compelling story, y'all. They're all really, really good, even if it's not something that you're going through. These stories are so from the heart. They're really, really amazing.
They're inspiring. I've listened to a couple of the speakers, and I'm just so amazed by some of their stories out there, especially one of them who adopted how many children from Serbia?
Not Serbia. Yeah, 9. That is Diana Pohl, right?
That's
and
right.
And she talks about the healing, the transformational power of family. I have to announce, because we did announce on one of the other shows, and I'll just give a shout out to Diana Pohl right now if you're watching in our live broadcast, or if you're watching the replay. We want to congratulate you on your new grandbaby. She's in Michigan, saying hi to her new grandbaby. We have a couple grandbabies popping up in our Awakened Leader circle, so we are loving that. Anyway, yeah, it's very inspiring. I promise you, folks. Oh, and you know what? If you lean in to get our book, Awakened Leaders, Empowering Stories of Self-Healing, Triumph, and Transformation, on April 20th, our launch day, then you will get that amazing book. 16 authors, y'all. 15 chapters, 16 authors. We do have a duo, Kathleen and Matthew, that we mentioned earlier. You'll get all of that value for only $1.99. What? I know. It just blows my mind. $1.99. It's so much value. Yes. And I want to tell you about a detail as well. After every single chapter, there's a little QR code that you can just take your smartphone and click, and it will take you directly to that author's website. So the story that inspires you. You don't have to type anything in even. You can just click with your cell phone and be taken right to that author's site or to their email address, and you can connect with these awakened leaders at your leisure. All right. So, ladies, the time has come. Oh my gosh, it's my turn to speak. You
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, it's
You're
not that.
amazing.
You guys hear me. You guys hear me speak all the time. I am going to reveal my my chapter title though, so I'm going to put you ladies away in your room backstage and change my configuration here to the Awakened Leaders. Oh man, do I love this project. What I love is the people in this project. The people in this project are just so heart-centered. They are, they're all amazing, all for different reasons. They're all brave. They're just absolutely courageous. They're all intelligent, innovative, spiritual, evolved beings. It is really an honor to be at the helm of the Awakened Leaders Project. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Anyway, I didn't do it at the top of the show, but I will lean in and read our book mission. I have read this on previous broadcasts, but I just wanted you all to know exactly what our objectives are here. The purpose of this group book project is to raise the consciousness of our planet by empowering as many people as possible. By stepping forward as awakened leaders, we offer hope, inspiration, and guidance to others as we evolve into more enlightened ways of being and a more purposeful way of living. By sharing our stories of self-healing, triumph, and transformation, we hope to empower others to live to their highest potential. It's our belief that by co-creating our project as a collective, that we can reach and empower the most people, and in doing so, heal the planet itself. Really, just from just a consciousness level. So I'm sure everybody knows by now, my name is Ariel Asher, and I had the honor and pleasure of not only being the host of this program, but being the compiler of our book, Awakened Leaders, Empowering Stories of Self-Healing, Triumph, and Transformation. Now, I have been in other compilations before. I am a #1 international best-selling author many times over. I think 6 maybe. So for me, I'm already an author, but it's really kind of fun to compile these books and to be the leader. I guess I must be an awakened leader because I just really, really like leadership. Now, this is my second book compilation. And I've already mentioned earlier in our program today that the book Empowered Self-Care, Healing Body, Mind, and Soul for a Better World came out in February of last year, right when we were in the throes of the quarantine shutdown. And it was pretty interesting to come out with a self-care book at that time. It felt so, it felt almost like an emergency as it came out, right? Like it was we need this book stat. It came out on time, but we didn't realize the impact that it was going to have. Becoming a bestseller in the U.S., Canada, Germany, the UK, and Australia. It became a bestseller in 56 categories, y'all, and 21 of those were #1. It was so mind-boggling. It was overwhelming as the book compiler and as an author in the book. And I know all of my authors, they were just blown away. It was absolutely amazing. And I hope that we have the same kind of success with the book Awakened Leaders. When I created the structure of this book, Awakened Leaders, I really wanted to, I've already mentioned, I used these exact words, I wanted to attract and bring forward sort of the way showers, the holders of the light, in order to guide people out of what I considered to be pretty dark times. So I divided the book into 3 sections, and just in my meditation and in my prayers called forth the leaders to come fill these sections. And I just want to I'm going to give you a little preview of the sections. We have part 1 is called Our Evolving World. Part 2 is Building a Legacy, and part 3, Change in Action. In each one of those little sections, I chose a quote from a leader, or just a quote that that really moved me, and I thought framed that section and that grouping of authors. I love this quote by Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, concerned citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. The book isn't even out yet, and I already believe this statement is true as it applies to the authors in this amazing book compilation. I'm so proud to bring their stories to you. The second, Building a Legacy. I love this one by Nelson Mandela. What counts in life is not the mere fact that we lived. It is what difference we have made in the lives of others that determines the significance of the life that we have led, right? It's not that you just did it. It's what you did with it, right? I love that from Nelson Mandela. And the third and final quote that I'll share with you from our book project today is from John Quincy Adams. And I love this one too. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. It's like a little checkbox, right? Check, check, check. Guess what? If you're wondering, so for those of you at home who might be wondering, hey, am I a leader? I'm going to tell you what, you are. Even if it only in your own household. If you're a mom, you're a leader. If you're a teacher, you're a leader. If you're an author, you're a leader. If you're a speaker, you're a leader. If you're a coach, you're a leader, right? There are so many opportunities for leadership. And the reason that I bring that up is because when I was compiling the book Empowered Self-Care, I really wanted to change the definition of what people thought self-care was. Really wanting it to be a body, mind, soul, not just some fluffy thing that you do to make you feel good, but what you do to live a good life. And it's the same thing with Awakened Leaders. I wanted to expand and change the absolute definition of what we thought leaders were and what leadership meant, right? And I love this quote by John Quincy Adams, so you can rest assured it's included in our book. Now, I will share finally the title of my chapter. I have a couple minutes left here. The title of my chapter is Finding Peace Profound. And in that chapter, I talk about the Council of Solace meditation that I do. I do it every week in person. I go to the Rosicrucian Temple here in San Jose, California, and I talk about the first time that I ever stepped foot in the temple and the expansive experience I had of just being taken to another world. And so as a commitment to myself and part of my own self-care practice, I try to take part in the Council of Solace meditation at least once a week. Now, they offer that at noon every weekday. If anybody's from San Jose, California, and you didn't know that, you can go to the Rosicrucian Temple, not the museum. It's around the corner. And you can participate in this very brief, it's about 20 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes, ceremony at the temple. And it just completely takes you to another world. I absolutely recommend it. And the intention of the Council of Solace Meditation is to be in service of all those in need. So, during these times when the world is doing all kinds of different things and politics are hot, I found it to be very comforting to be able to not only have somewhere where I can go and meditate, but go and meditate with others who are having just the simple objective of being in service of those in need with your spiritual and or thought energy, however you call it, the power of prayer, the healing energy that I believe resides in all of us. In that chapter, I also talk about the importance of divine timing. And timing is really something important. Time is very important. It's such a valuable resource, right? I do believe that you can stretch time. This is a metaphysical concept, and I do believe that sometimes time gets compressed, right? But being in touch with time and being aware of time, I believe is very important. Divine timing, certainly, when a door opens, being able to be connected with yourself and to know when to step and when to wait, know when to hold them and know when to fold them, right? Sorry, I don't know how the gambler got into my speech today, but it really is true, isn't it? To be connected enough to the self to know, oh, this is not my time, right? It's not time yet. And being able to be in the flow. Part of being in the flow that people talk about many times is just knowing, being connected and listening to that intuition when to take action. And I talk a little bit about why I came out with, I'm very proud to have published 6 journals, well, 7 altogether as a series, but the Self-Mastery Journal series that I birthed earlier this year, where I just really wanted to give people intention and space to deep dive into themselves. A form of self-care with intention and reflection in order to bring about self-mastery, energetic healing, spiritual healing, if you will. But I feel really proud, and part of my experience in at the Rosicrucian Temple was very profound. I had just turned in all of my journal manuscripts. Here's my set of journals. I have I had just turned in my journal manuscripts to my publisher, and I went to the Council of Solace and did the meditation, and I was given some documents to take home. Oh, here, have this magazine, because I'm enthusiastic. People like me. I get all excited, and everybody's all, oh yeah, she's all excited, right? Because they like that energy. So they sent me home with their periodical, and you're not going to believe it. The whole series that they gave me was a series on self-mastery. The energetic healing language that they were using was almost as if I had written it myself. And I just was so blown away with the coincidence. And I just knew I was in the right place, right? And I didn't feel a competitiveness or anything. It was like, yes, of course, like something fine, like a groove finally fell into place, and the gears were all turning correctly. And that, again, was part divine timing, right? You can't push the river when it's time, it's time. So I found that spiritual community and that place for myself. And it's beautiful to be able to be of service in that Council of Solace meditation. So that's a little bit about my chapter. It's really about that experience. I go into great detail about what I felt, what I smelt, the whole experience, the synchronicities that lined up to me, even being at the Rosicrucian temple at that time. It was really rather amazing. So I hope that you will lean into my chapter, Finding Peace Profound, and get a slice of that peace for yourself. Now, I'm not saying that I think that everybody should be a Rosicrucian or study that mystical path, but I do think that everybody should find something that works for you. It's important to nourish all parts of the self, including that spiritual part, right? And having community around that. So I hope that you'll lean in, get our book, get it on. If you get it on April 20th for the first 24 to 48 hours, you can get it at a steal for $1.99. I love that, and I think that everybody will be quite pleased with it. Anyway, I believe that's my time. That's a wrap for me. I'll bring my ladies back on. Now, I would love to hear what you guys think of what I had to say, of what we're up to. What do you think?
Ariel, you are always so inspiring. I just love the work you do. Like you said, I've known you for many years and love your energy and your spirit, and just everything that you've done to help and support others. I think it's always been who you are and who I've known you to be, always giving to others. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. I think one time it was explained that the go give attitude. I think that definitely I have learned to embody that go give attitude. Let's see what I have I'm going to have to show my own comments. Thank you, Ariel. You are an inspiration. Love you. Yes. Mwah! Love you too, April. Thank you so much. Let's see. Matthew says, we love you, Ariel. You're the best. Well, maybe not the best, but pretty high up there, right?
For sure.
And then we have, wow, beautiful. So curious about your chapter. We're excited to read it. I know that I actually shared about that experience with you guys, but I don't think that you guys knew that that was what I wrote about in our in the chapter. So I really hope that everybody is really excited to read it. This is the way that I wrote this chapter is really in alignment with the book, really just sharing from my heart what my experience was, and really talking about how even though I was super stoked about the launch of our book, I was also super stressed, and being a caregiver myself, Helen will understand this part. I was super stressed. So even though I was having some of the most successful times in my life and getting a lot of recognition, simultaneously, there was all kinds of stuff going on in the family and things that I was having to navigate. So that's just, that's par for the course, right? That balance with the good comes with the light comes the shadow, right? And that's the way that it goes. It looks like I'm getting some inappropriate comments from the Peanut Gallery here. I won't bother showing those to you. That's not from any of our people. It's not from any of our people, but I'm thrilled that they're watching our broadcast. But that's not gonna make it to the comment section.
Ariel,
okay. Oh, go ahead, Paula.
I just wanted to let you know I love engaging in anything with you because you have this wonderful, loving, and heck of funny energy. It's, you're kind, you're gracious, you're lovely, you're just such a cool woman.
She's so much fun.
Yes.
Just fun. I think fun was her middle name for sure.
Thanks. I like that. I'll put the F in the middle of my signature. Ariel F. Asher. Oh no, maybe that's not a good initial. All right, so I digress, but I guess that kind of proves the point, right?
And
Thank you
I'm
so
honored
much.
to call you my friend. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Paula. After our book launch is over, we're going to have to sit down and have a great lunch and a great debrief after the whole thing, right?
I'm in. Yeah, we haven't
Love
done
that.
that in a couple years.
We
Yes.
haven't. Well, that global pandemic thing was in the way.
Yeah, darn it. That's
Oh,
a
good.
good idea.
My friend Deborah is sending love and compassion to the trolls. They didn't bother us too much. Sometimes it happens on YouTube, but thank you. Let's all send them love and light. They hate it, right?
Good idea. Love
They
and light.
absolutely hate it. It's like when you open the curtains on a vampire, right? Send them love and light. All right, you all. Well, our book launch, I know I've said it before, but I want to say it one more time before we close here today. Our book launch will be April 20th, 2022. You can watch social media, watch here. If you're on our YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to watch for us on all of your favorite social media channels. And you can also go to arielasher.com to sign up to be on the mailing list, to be notified, so that you can get that book for $1.99 because you don't want to miss it. You can still get it, but you won't get it for that steal of a price. And I don't know about you, but I get super excited when I get a really good bargain. Woo, that makes me happy. So,
What about
all
your
right.
empowered self-care book? Is
What's
that still your empowered self-care book? Is that
Yeah,
still
absolutely available on Amazon or at the arielasher.com website. Absolutely. And we have big news. I'm going over my time a little bit here today. We have big news that the Empowered Self-Care book is up for a Visionary Award, and the book, the journal, and the Oracle cards, the Empowered Self-Care Oracle cards, are up for Visionary Awards, and we're going to be asking people to vote all during April. That is from the Coalition of Visionary Resources. We're going to be sending out those voting packages, and we ask you please vote for the Empowered Self-Care products. We're entered in 3 different categories: each of our journal, our anthology, and our book, and our cards. So we really would appreciate that recognition. So please cast your vote at the COVR website. And when you see that in social media, when we send that out, please do vote for us, because we just want to continue shedding that self-care light all around the world to raise the consciousness of the planet. Anyway, looks like I'm over my time here, ladies. We're going to have to wrap it up. So why don't I get just a real quick takeaway from each of you, and we'll call this a day. Paula Pacheco, is there anything you want to say in closing?
I get so nervous and stressed, and I don't need to be. That's
right.
One of the things I'm taking away. I'm so relaxed and calm, and I was relaxed and calm as I was giving my talk. But before it, I was like, I'm going to forget this, but I want to say this, and oh my gosh. But the point is, you make it simple and easy and fun.
Aw, thank you, Paula.
So thank you.
You're an excellent speaker. Your talk was great, Paula. How about you, Helen? Do you have any little snippet that you want to leave everybody with today?
Yeah. Just I want to say, as you said earlier, I hope to all my caregivers that you will lean into my chapter, From Caregiver to CEO, and learn more about being an awakened leader and shine the light for others through caregiving. Happy to connect with you. Thank you. Mwah.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Helen.
And of course, I'm your hostess with the mostest here at the helm, Ariel Asher, and we look forward to hearing from you how you like our book. So we hope that everybody enjoys the book. Be watching for it on April 20th. Okay, everybody, that is a wrap. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.